Call to order the regular common council meeting, Monday, February 17th, 7 p.m. Roll call.
Braun. Isa.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Olson. Radke.
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes. Alderpersons Braun and Olson are excused. So next item is Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Confirmation of appropriate meeting notice.
Meeting was noticed on Friday, February 14th. Agendas were posted at the post office, library, and city hall.
Thank you. I'll try not to ask again. Council acceptance of the agenda.
Motion to accept?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Personal appearances. Anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on anything that's not on the agenda? Okay, we will move on to the minutes from the February 3rd meeting.
Motion to approve February 3rd council meeting minutes?
Second.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Kind of lonely down on that end with the...
Yeah. I am.
Why don't you give us a finance report?
Okay. Finance
Nobody
met.
in the way here.
Yeah. Finance met tonight at 6:30. I will make a motion to approve bills and payrolls in the amount of $3,184,609.26.
Second.
Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, roll call.
Davis.
Yes.
Isa.
Yes.
Radke.
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve temporary Class B license to Edgerton FFA alumni on March 7th, 2020.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Davis.
Yes.
Isa.
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes.
Radke.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve addendum to Cedar Corp agreement for the West Side Industrial Park pond design.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did we want to hear the background?
Would you like the background? I'd be happy to.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, in your packet, page 6 of your packet is the discussion regarding the West Side Pond. Also in your finance packet is the actual contract with Cedar Corp. So this is for the design of a pond. This is an additional piece of work that's being added to a contract that you've already approved for the design of the street that will serve the 4 acres the city plans to buy on the west side of the community off of Gear Drive. So the reason the pond is on the agenda is it is eligible for TIF financing, and the pond will create fill, and to build the street that you already plan to build, you need fill. So now these 2 projects really make sense to be done together. So for those reasons of timing and the necessity for construction, we're recommending that the contract be amended and that we design and build that pond this year.
And the expenditure period on the TIF ends fairly soon.
Correct, September of this year.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Davis.
Yes.
Isa.
Yes.
Radke.
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve addendum to Cedar Corp agreement for Henderson Street resurfacing design.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Davis.
Yes.
Isa.
Yes.
Radke.
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve the lowest bid from Champion Showers and Flooring in the amount of $1,445.77 for shelter repairs at Racetrack Park.
Second.
Any discussion?
Low bid.
No? Okay. Okay, roll call.
Davis.
Yes.
Isa.
Yes.
Radke.
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve the purchase of the scoreboard at Racetrack Park in the amount of $1,418.75 using Racetrack Park advertisement funds.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did I read someplace that another group was helping fund that?
Yes, that's a quarter of the cost.
This cost us a quarter of it here.
School has half, agreed to cover half, and then the softball league will cover the other quarter.
That's excellent, good. Thank you.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Davis,
Yes.
Isa,
Yes.
Radke,
Yes,
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve the city attorney contract.
No background or
Can we get a second first?
second? Second.
Okay.
Yes, in your finance packet is a copy of the contract with the city attorney. It is an extension of the current 3-year contract for another 3-year contract with Murphy Desmond for city attorney services. The finance committee discussed at its last meeting whether or not they would want to go out and request proposals and decided at this point not to negotiate a contract instead. So that it's the same contract as the last contract with the same services. It has a 1.3% average annual increase in the retainer fee. The analysis of the retainer fee done before the last meeting indicated that the retainer fee is in line with the number of hours being spent to provide the services. So the recommendation is to approve the attached contract.
Page 33.
Oh, finance, yes, thank you.
Anyone else? Roll call. Oh, something else?
This stinks.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Isa,
Yes.
Radke,
yes,
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve charging TIF 5 interest on advance to the general fund in the amount of $11,064.90.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Davis,
Yes.
Isa,
Yes.
Radke,
yes,
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
That's it for finance.
Thank you. Anything from utilities?
Utilities met on February 10th, and there's nothing to bring forward.
You? Anything from Public Works?
You want me to do it?
Sure.
That's just been there, yeah. Public Works met a week ago. You've already heard about a couple of the things that we did, the addendums to the Cedar contract for the Henderson Street cul-de-sac. We approved that so that it would go on and get engineers involved in getting the numbers for it. Discussion on the assessments for it was because it's 2/3 city land and 1/3 landowner, so that's why we want to get numbers. We're going to have another meeting before we decide where to go after we get it done. The pond, Ramona's already explained the pond. Public Works approved the building of the pond and where the funds were coming from. Again, that's why Cedar Corp's doing the addendum to their contract for it. 2020 street maintenance projects. Howard put together a really good list of the 2020 of the streets that need 2020 maintenance done, and as you know, we get an extra $170,000 that we're putting into the streets from the closing of the TIF, or we had, what, 145 left from it from last year that we're using on this year's project. He put together a pretty good list for crack fill, chip seal, resurfacing, and Public Works Committee gave him direction to move forward with that, and if he saw changes to go and necessary to do them as he sees fit. Home compost bins was discussed. We're going to move forward on that to see if there was some interest on the Facebook and phone calls as far as people looking for home compost bins. So we're going to move forward with getting some bids on them for next year. Obviously, we can't order them now. It's late. And maybe split with another city, and depending on what the cost, we can get the cost down and how we're going to get them out to the public, whether we're going to fee them or, charge them exactly what we get, because we're already getting them at a discount by buying bulk. And there was interest shown, as I said, so we are moving forward with that. We had discussion on compost pile options. Howard's moving forward with some of that, so we should have something to bring to the council better than what we had last year on what we're going to do with the current compost site. And Trees, they've been taking down a lot of trees. Howard's decided we're going to do in-house stump grinding, where they can rent or borrow a stump grinder and do it ourselves rather than contract it out this year. And obviously, you're pulling them from that now to do snow removal, but that's what they were doing for the last couple of weeks before the snow. So that's where we were at. I think that's all we got. Anything? Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tree Board.
Tree Board met on January 13th, and although there is not much to bring to council, there was much discussion about 2020 projects, including street trees going into Orchard Heights. There will be tree planting at Central Park, where fourth graders will be participating in Arbor Day. And there was discussion about memorial plaques and a major discussion about grant opportunities, and one of the items being a tree inventory, which may take a back seat. And that's out for Tree Board.
Thank you. And the next item is to discuss and consider TIF 5 affordable housing extension. You want to do some background on that?
Certainly. Page 5 of your packet, and then also an article on page 7 of your packet. Hopefully you had a chance to look through that. It's a league article that I think gave a real good background on this whole concept, the provisions the legislature put in place to allow municipalities who have a TIF district that is retiring to leave the district open for a year longer than it otherwise would have been left open, take the funding, the increment that is created in that 1 year, and use it for affordable housing efforts. So TIF 5, the business park TIF, is closing this year, and we will have an opportunity, you will have an opportunity to decide if you wish to take this affordable housing extension provision. And it would, the estimated amount of funds that it would produce would be about $300,000. And that league article gave some good thumbnail sketches, I would say, of how other municipalities have used the funds. In summary, I would say they're most commonly used to create new units, affordable units. One community used it to repair infrastructure, and others have used it to improve existing housing. In order to do this, you would have to pass a resolution by April 15th. We would ask you pass that sooner because we have a lot of pieces of the puzzle to put together to close out a TIF that we would want a little more lead time than that. So sometime in the near term, if you're going to move forward with this, we would continue to work on it and see if we can come up with a program. If you leave the TIF open for another year, when a TIF retires, I should say, the city is allowed to increase a levy limit by a portion of the new tax base that is now given to all of the taxing jurisdictions when that TIF district closes. The estimated amount that our levy limit will increase, the cities, would be $39,000. So if you extend the TIF district for a year, that $39,000 payment would happen a year later than it otherwise would have. Another caveat is to know that a TIF district, typically whenever you spend funds in a TIF district, you have to spend them within the district. In this case, the affordable housing extension allows the expenditures to be made anywhere in the city. So I guess this evening, if we can start the conversation, if you have an opinion and feel strongly one way or the other and can give direction, then we can proceed with putting a resolution together. And we would anticipate that you would want your finance committee to develop the details of the program for your consideration at a future date. So I'll stop there and then try to answer any questions you may have.
We should
So the only,
probably should put a motion on the table before we do any discussion.
Okay,
Oh, we
so
don't
we
want
can
that.
have further discussion. I'll make a motion to direct the Finance Committee to develop program procedures and policies for council approval.
second.
Okay, now discussion. Thanks.
So our downside is the $39,000 being put up a year, that's it? Or
Yes.
Is there more to it? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the other taxing jurisdictions also would wait a year. I don't know, all of the taxing jurisdictions have different rules they live by. School districts are different than cities, so I don't profess to be an expert in the impacts, but they would forego that tax base being available for them for another year also. Interestingly enough, as you may know, the TIF districts require, when amending or creating, you have to get approval from the other taxing jurisdictions through a formal process. In this instance, this does not require, it requires only your resolution. It doesn't require approval by the other taxing jurisdictions. So that's, I find interesting that the legislature felt this was an important enough issue that cities were given this one-year opportunity to work on affordable housing.
okay, so the only resolution, the only thing we're going to be looking right now is just the resolution to extend it the year. How
Correct.
we're going to do it is a future date,
Correct.
as far as citywide or district.
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
So we're just looking at extending it, okay.
Yeah, if you're interested in the concept, we would
Right.
prepare that resolution, and then the finance committee, or whichever committee you wish, you could make us, ad hoc committee, whatever, can look at opportunities. We would study our current housing market and figure out what seems to make sense here. I mean, we've done some of that analysis already and have some ideas about, kind of where we think we are, so there will be some great opportunity for, policy discussion about that.
And it does get invested back into the city, so the taxing jurisdictions will receive the tax benefits once these building projects take place or renovation projects. So
I'm more concerned on looking at the homeowners and opening up wider for homeowners to improve their residences and everything for the value and stuff like that. But I was looking and most of them were like 0% loans and things like that. They weren't grants. That doesn't go, or I didn't see that in here.
I think that grants, we would explore all the options. I think grants are possible. You're right that many of them are. The Monona program is one example I have a lot of details on, and it is a low-interest loan. And then once that's paid back, then it revolves again. So you would create a base that you could continue, to move it through the community over time. It wouldn't just be a one-time. But I don't know that there's anything that specifically precludes, I haven't seen anything that precludes grants. So as the committee begins working and asking all of those questions, we'll make sure we get answers to all of those.
Okay, good.
And I would say if we move forward with directing the Finance Committee, I would encourage all council to attend some of those meetings as we have the discussion for input and background.
I'm good with it.
anyone else? Roll call.
Davis,
Yes.
Radke,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Isa,
Yes.
Motion passes. Mayor, alderpersons, and staff reports. Edgerton Community Outreach has their soups on Sunday, 11 o'clock at Tri-County Community Center. And tomorrow is primary election day, so if you have any interest in that, stop down tomorrow here. That's all I have.
I have one thing to note. You should have received in your mailboxes an announcement. It's a preliminary announcement of a meeting that will be coming up regarding the South Main Street. There will be a formal legal notice placed in the paper, as well as notices to the neighbors, but the council should be aware. This will be the first opportunity to look at alternatives for the street design, the cross-section, parking, traffic calming efforts. The idea is to have as many different kind of concepts out there for you to consider, and this is the public's meeting, and then you'll take that information from that meeting, and then committees will begin working on the actual details of how that street will actually lay out. So that's an important meeting, especially it's an opportunity. If citizens do attend, you'll be able to hear what people's thoughts are on that.
So everyone who lives on South Main will receive a letter in the mail for that?
Correct.
And when will that be going out?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Cedar Corp, our engineer, is probably taking the charge on that, so I'm not sure. I know the legal notices are going in now for the paper.
Okay.
The meeting is March 19.
Right, yep,
Yeah.
I have that down, that's good.
Good. So we'll, I don't know for sure, but I'm sure it'll be pretty soon.
And then when you talk about a committee kind of putting the information together, would that be Public Works?
I would assume
Okay.
so, yeah.
Good.
Public safety would have some input potentially too, because much of the,
Sure,
I'll say,
parking.
unusual conversations about the, we'll consider different things in the actual road layout to try to slow traffic down, because even under the horrible conditions that street is in, we still have complaints about speeding. So once it's nice and smooth and wider, it'll be a concern, I think. So we're going to look at options, and maybe the community will decide not to use any of them, but I think we're going to put some out there for people to consider.
Good. Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.